Well, hello. Of course I am. Yes, I am. How are you? Hi, guys. That was me talking to my Uncle Robert. I'm actually really glad he called as I was about to tape this video because I got to actually see myself on camera looking a lot more natural and normal. And it made me realize, like, stop being afraid of this whole vlogging thing. Just be normal, talk to your best friend. You know, come on, we can do this. You might be wondering what's in store for this next week for me. What am I going to be working on? Last week, the theme was all about social media, learning YouTube, which, by the way, is not as easy as you would think. I feel like probably every 13-year-old can get on there and just figure it out, but I had to do a bunch of tutorials and videos to try to learn how to create a channel. Oops, I created the wrong channel, so let me delete that one. But wait, that's not super easy either. So I had to watch something even on that. So it's been kind of fun to dive into something that's very different from what my background is, and has been really fun. But let me tell y'all, the learning curve is real, y'all. It is so real. Another thing is starting the website design process. I can't wait to actually have a website to tell you guys where to go. And I'm gonna actually open a print shop before I even have makeup to sell. And so as soon as I get that website launched, I'll be able to start putting up some of those prints for you to buy if you would like some of the quotes that represent what Snow Beauty Co. is all about. My strategy is to create as much of a following as I can to invite you guys to join me on this business journey, to be vulnerable, like I've said, with the good and the bad of starting a business. And from there, I'm hoping that as soon as I have product that I actually have an audience to sell to. I'm really trying to bootstrap as much of this venture as I can and not go into debt. Last week was my first week in the office, and my goal for last week was to make a plan for this whole month to make sure that I was working on the right things and was being strategic about moving my business forward. I think when you enter into a new season or you start a new job, or in my case, you start a business, there's so much information and so many things that you don't know how to do yet that you have to really make sure you stay focused on what is the most important thing for you to be driving forward, because otherwise you can become very ADD. I'm not ADD at all, but I have definitely seen myself become a little bit ADD in the past, even just week and a half. It's really hilarious. I'll open an email to email a manufacturer and I'll start writing that, and then I'm like, oh wait, I'm supposed to be spending time on Pinterest and making sure I start building out my boards so that drives traffic. And so that I'll go to Pinterest and start working on that. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, 5 people messaged me in Facebook and 3 in Instagram, and I have 15 LinkedIn messages, which mean the world to me, but I haven't responded back to them yet. So before I know it, I've got 3 things started and none of them completed. And so I had to laugh at myself yesterday when I was like, okay, let me stop and go back and just finish the email that I originally started and then go from there to the next thing. So I think that at the start of anything that's new, it's really tempting to jump around and kind of lose sight a few times, or you're going to be inefficient sometimes in what you're doing because you just don't know yet exactly what to do, what's the best way to have the most efficient workflow. So I think some of that's expected, but it is really important to make sure you know exactly what your top priorities are and why those are your top priorities and how those top priorities are going to drive your end goal. Because then it kind of helps you to at least muddle in the dark in the right direction. I wanted to share with you guys some of the lessons that I've been learning in this past week. One is don't be overly ambitious. I'm working from home, which I love. However, I've never done that in my career. I've always worked in an office with other people. It's interesting because I am very much in between an introvert and an extrovert. Every single time I take one of those tests, I come out right down the middle. And I think that's because I really enjoy people, but I refuel by myself. So I'm gonna be looking for a couple of places to get plugged in and start building a community in Austin. The other thing that I have been realizing after working 1 week in my home office is that I need a really strong firewall. Have you seen the Parks and Rec episode where Leslie Knope and her husband work in the same government building, and they're trying to have this conversation about work, and they establish a firewall, and they say they can only talk about work while they're on government property. Now, when they're at their home, they can't talk about it. It's off limits. So I realized that because my life is all in this house now, that I needed a really strong firewall so that I have clarity about, this is work, invisible firewall. I try to work just at my desk or in my office space, and I try not to take my computer out into the kitchen or my bedroom so that those spaces still feel like they're personal and that they're home. I would just so love y'all's feedback. If you have any thoughts for things you would like to know about what's going on with the company or things you would like to know about me, you can leave a comment below, and I would love to take those ideas and be sure to answer them as best I can. Thank you guys so much. I can't even tell you how much your support means to me.